I will start simply with this. I cannot, under any circumstances, do this anime justice. This masterpiece is one of the few anime I've ever watched to receive and maintain a high score even after a full breakdown. Legend of the Galactic Heroes is a galactic space opera that follows the story of mostly Reinhard von Lohengram of the Galactic Empire as he conquers space. But the other main protagonist is the famous Yang Wen-li, the hero of El Facile and the only true rival to Reinhardt. All of the characters in this show matter, but there are really too many for me to list off of memory. But what is important to know is that each and every single character serves an amazing purpose for the show. There's no comic relief, no scapegoat, well, maybe, but the characters in their own are unique and make an impact on the story in one way or another. I normally struggle to watch an anime that is just 25 episodes long because after watching so many seasonal anime that end after 12 or 13, 25 just seems like an eternity. But here's the thing, every second of Legend of the Galactic Heroes matters. I cannot stress this enough. All approximately 55 hours of the show matters. Every single minute matters. There is so much going on in the show that it just seems unstoppable. It does not move too quickly, and it takes time developing the story, the plot, and its amazing characters. In 110 episodes, there's not a single episode of filler, so I gotta give a ton of props to them for that. I firmly believe this show cannot be condensed any further without sacrificing something amazing about it, which is why I think I cannot do it justice at all. I'm going to say I'm a bit of a spoiler here, so back out if you're concerned about that. And I recommend that you do watch the show blind, so to speak. But I was told this before I watched it, and I still loved it. Surprise, surprise, people die. That's what happens in war. But in Legend of the Galactic Heroes, the deaths are, as my friend put it, an art. He used a different word in the middle there, but we'll pass over that for now. The show does a great job of showing the characters' death and the impact that it has on the story as a whole, and how it forces other characters to react, how it makes them feel, and what it does to the entire galaxy. Legend of the Galactic Heroes is the fourth anime I've ever watched to receive a 10 out of 10, and it absolutely deserves it. It becomes hard to forget some of the characters like Mueller or Fahrenheit, Oberstein, Ruenthal, Mittenmeyer, Siegfried Kiriheis, Julian Poplin, Attenborough, Lieutenant Greenhell, Fraulein Mariendorf, I butchered her name there, and of course, our main protagonist, Reinhardt, and Yang Wenli. Yang Wenli. Each character makes an impression, and I love each of them to death. For me, Mueller was my absolute favorite of all the characters because of his commanding style that he becomes known for, Iron Wall Mueller, and his interactions with both sides of the story. I think I have said, or maybe as much as I can say without spoilers, everything I need to say about the show. Please go watch it right after I do my full breakdown. Remember, the show starts at a 10 out of 10, and a full breakdown normally deducts quite a few points from everything, with one exception, but I haven't made a video for that one yet. For the music, I give it a 9 out of 10. Most anime have absolute bangers for their intros and outros, but sadly to say, this one does not. However, this show does better than almost any other anime out there, in its 110 episodes long run, is that it chooses the right music for the moment. The background music that plays during each scene is matched perfectly with what is happening, unlike, say, Gurren Lagann, where they start playing like some weird, somehow like clowny music that's also orchestrated during like the final fight. But this show doesn't use its bad intro music as an underlying theme, unlike a lot of other shows, like even my favorite anime, Anohana. So it doesn't have like that advantage, I guess, to have like an underlying theme song for the entire show. It just uses music perfectly. The plot, man, that gets an instant 10 out of 10. Like I said before, not a single moment of the show was wasted, and it's such a huge plot that flows naturally from one point to the next, and it's executed impeccably through other techniques that I will talk briefly about later. Impact gets a 9 out of 10 because although the story is grand and certainly leaves an impression, it did not make me think as much as other anime have. Normally, when I say that, it's normally a super low score for Impact, but this anime is an art. After watching it, I instantly recorded all of my ratings, but even then I did not know why I gave it a 9 out of 10. But that's the beauty of it. This show is done so well that it leaves a sublime impression that even the viewer themselves cannot identify. Also, there were a few deaths that actually did make me think about their actions and what loyalty, betrayal, and friendship all mean. Maybe I thought about it more on a subconscious level, but even still. One of the deaths even made me cry a little bit. So, I mean, like, that helped boost the impact score a little bit, but I'll let you find the death that matters the most to you. Like I said before, the characters are amazing, so the characters are an instant 10 out of 10. Give me 5 minutes, and like I said before, I actually probably could list off all the characters by name that appear in the show. But I won't do that because those names will likely mean nothing to you, and testing my knowledge is also useless when you don't know if I could just be pulling up the wiki. I love the characters in the show, and their voice actors did a great job displaying their emotion through the voice. Considering how old the animation was, making it hard to express more complex emotions, they pulled it off, and they did it anyways. The average episode score is also 10 out of 10 because, as I've stated time and time again, not a moment is wasted. Each episode I watched made me want to watch another, see what would happen next. Each one was enjoyable and incredibly interesting with the military and political strategizing that would take place. Once I had noticed that nothing was wasted, the show got better because it would lead me to ask myself in each episode, what is this going to do? How will it affect the characters? And needless to say, I was never disappointed. And last but not least, because this show is not a comedy in the slightest. I mean, there are a couple of funny moments, but that's because some of the characters themselves are just funny people, and then some of them being like sarcastic on occasion or something like that. The animation, the last thing, 10 out of 10. And this is where I can see a different argument though, like, oh no, the animation's from the 80s and 90s and it looks so bad. But that's where I disagree. Not only does the animation look okay, I agree that it isn't great, but the way they use the animation and the camera angles is impeccable. I've never seen an anime use like the camera just like this. They're normally trying to move around like way too much. This feels like an actual directed film. It's amazing. And the way they use animation is one of the ways they tell the story, which is why I was so impressed. The camera in the show, so to speak, was directed expertly to show the dynamic power relationships. It changed focus, which is something you just don't see a lot in anime. Modern anime do the stupid thing where two characters cannot talk on the same screen because that's too much money or something. And I understand the industry's bad. But this show has characters talking on the same screen, showing their relationship, showing how they interact, and it's done in such a realistic manner that I have to applaud it. Now, if you've been following along and wrote all the numbers for yourself, you would know that this gives us an overall final score of 9.7 out of 10. For frame of reference, my other 10 out of 10 anime are Anohana, Rascal, and Gurren Lagann. But if I do a full breakdown of Rascal and Gurren Lagann, their scores drop to about a mid 8. But this show is able to maintain a high score, and it didn't even have the added benefit of having the comedy category to earn it more points and make its deductions worth less, like Rascal and Gurren Lagann have. So yeah, go watch this anime. It will change how you watch anime for the rest of your life. You can watch it legally on Verve or High Dive. So be sure to go to like any popular channel that reviews anime and get that free Verve trial, then binge the heck out of this thing. There are 168 hours in a week, so spend the 56 you would spend sleeping watching the show. It'll be worth it.